What makes this movie any different from any other Zack Snyder production?
Uh, uh, it's it's
It's 2 hours
uh,
long.
yeah. It's 2 hours long. Yeah, that's an improvement, I guess.
Yeah, you get the same old 30 minutes of slow motion throughout the movie. You get people randomly sit down and just let's talk about backstory. Uh, you get people who should be smart or not smart at all, but that's kind of common nowadays
Yeah.
anyway. So, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. What a cringy
Yay.
name.
Because only Snyder will think this is a really brilliant name.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Um. So, before we get started, welcome back. Another Reviews Corp podcast, episode 28. I'm your good host, Red Devilos Reviews, and I'm back here again with Unity Review and Analysis. What's up, Unity?
Hi, I'm good. Just a lot of things to work on, essays, and somehow I waste my time watching this movie.
Yeah. Before we get started, just a quick reminder, we do have another channel, another Reviews Corp podcast on YouTube, where you can find these videos the next day. And
Yeah.
please subscribe to that. And we also have a Spotify, the same name, which both of the links are in the description down below. So yeah, consider subscribing and we'll appreciate that. And, since we're talking about Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, the second part, I believe part 1 was what, back in December or something like that? We have a
Yeah.
we have that video on our channel, which is why you should go and subscribe so you can see our thoughts on the first part. What do you remember about the first part?
It's copying Seven Samurai and Star Wars, but like a billion times worse.
Yeah, I do want to address like the first point some people make is like we should definitely try to appreciate things like this because at least like Snyder's like trying to make a new franchise IP rather than the old usual Marvel, Star Wars, DC, that kind of stuff. But it's like okay, um, so does that mean I shouldn't expect quality from new IPs too? So
Yay. Probably not.
yeah, but yeah, you know, part one, it. So I guess like from a preliminary standpoint, the the movies don't connect very well if you stop to think about what happens between the two films. Like there are a lot of contradictions in part two, um, which we'll kind of go into when we go through it. Uh,
Yay.
and then there's like a lot of logical things that just don't make any sense. It's like, for example, it never made sense that Cora is like the most wanted person in the universe, but nobody knows her and nobody knows why she was wanted. Nobody knows like anything about her. So it's like whenever they do address that stuff, it's like but then like at the end of the movie you literally have somebody say that yeah, I knew everything about you. I knew exactly what you did. I knew but it just didn't matter to me. But it's like I don't know. How
I mean, if you know that this guy like kills the daughter or something, you should really be a lot more cautious.
yeah. But yeah, I guess like information just spreads very thin, which doesn't make sense because Belisarius is like well known across the galaxy. So I'm not really sure how his adopted daughter is like not well known to. It's like trying to do Gamora, but people knew who Gamora was, so it just doesn't make any sense.
Hey, I mean, if only Zack Snyder hired James Gunn to write his films. But then again, I don't want James Gunn to write his films.
Yeah. All right. I will say we do need to end before 8 o'clock. Just FYI. I do have something to do, but I'm sure we'll get through this because this film is like compared to part one. This is like more action going on. So like the action takes up like maybe like the last 40 minutes of the movie. It's like Man
No,
of Steel.
no, not like it's at like 18 minutes of the movie. I literally look
80
at
minutes.
Netflix.
Oh yeah. It's like it reminded me of Man of Steel, like how the third act was like an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Like you have to realize like when watching Man of Steel, it's like it gets so monotonous with how long it takes for the Zod versus Superman fight to happen. But then you also have all this stuff happening with like the mother box, not the mother box, the Phantom Zone stuff, and then the whole Lois Lane subplot, then the Perry White subplot, and it's like all that stuff adds up. Yeah, and it's like 1 hour of screen time for a third act. I just never really seen this before. But Zach is like expecting a DLC version of Rebel Moon. They're coming soon, and then
To be honest, this movie feels like a video game. Literally, like this game starts. The entire fight scene is round one fighting foot soldiers. Round two fighting more soldiers with a tank. Round three fighting more foot soldiers with a bigger tank.
then you go onto the ship, and then you meet the goddess Kali. I don't. How did she get in that ship? Nobody knows. She's interdimensional. We'll get to that. But yeah, so and it's just painfully obvious, like where it's super obvious that this is that thing. Like, oh, it's not fleshed out here because it's going to be fleshed out in the 4 hour cut of the movie.
Oh fuck you! I'm not
Like
because
everything to do with like Anthony Botkin's character Jimmy. Because he just has antlers now. It's like, oh, why did that happen? They didn't show us in part one or part two. And part two shows like a bunch of flashbacks. So it's like, and you can't even show that flashback for those because Zach makes such a big deal about the whole. Oh, I wanted it to appeal to the PG-13 guys and then the rated R guys. So it's like, okay, so you still have a plot hole in your PG-13 version. So I guess fuck them, right? That doesn't make any sense. And then speaking of plot holes, you just have characters like spewing lines that just don't make any sense for their characters. Like if you give it to like for example, Korra is like super like so like this is kind of where the movie starts anyway. Is like they go back to the planet, the foreign planet, and apparently first off they made a whole feast for them. It's like, yeah, we knew you were coming. It's like how'd you make all that food? Like the day they came. That makes no sense. Or it's like, well, has it been sitting there for like 3 days or something? It's like you've been waiting for them to come back, or
yeah.
But yeah, but even then, it's like they're just like, yeah, I killed Discount Dario Naharis, and it's like, yeah, he's dead. It's like, yeah, so let's celebrate. And it's like, it doesn't really make sense for her to say that because you know the Imperium, you know that killing him is not the end of the war.
Yeah, I mean the fucking rules is so stupid. Apparently, if you kill a general, they will stop the invasion. Which is like, no. The general only commands the army. There's a lot of higher ups if you notice, especially in the first movie. They say the Mother World conquers the entire universe.
Yeah, and then Balisarius is still alive, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's so BS. Because apparently they have like god technology to bring him back to life. Apparently, this is the way to cheat the code or something.
Yeah, but it's like it's weird because like basically her whole thing about killing Admiral Noble, and it's like, oh yeah, now there's not going to be an assault. They're not going to steal your food supply anymore. But then the oh my god, it's such a headache. So Eris, the boy that was like he was like one of the privates the from Noble's team. He was the one who found Sam, that blonde girl farmer, like really interesting, and then like before she was getting raped, he was the one trying to defend her. But then yeah, so he's basically a traitor to the system. Apparently, nobody in the mother world knows that. So like he still does the communications on Velt, as if like he's still like loyal to them. But then so here's the thing. So this guy is like a private. So he's like he's like an underling. But the masters like above him, they never ask like, where's your superior? Like, why don't I talk to them? Like they never ask him that. They also tell him everything. It's like, yeah, we're still here on Velt. And I guess nobody knows on Velt that all their superiors are like killed. So yeah, there's just a bunch of like mumbo jumbo bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's working as a double agent. He's not really doing a good job of it.
Yep. I mean, it's like, what did he say? Just like, oh, why didn't you make any contact because of
It's like
shit happened.
please let our men know that we're gonna be there in 5 days. Um,
Uh,
so you don't know your men are dead.
yeah. It's so weird because I don't even know what to say about this because and then the general was like, yeah, I believe everything you just said.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like it's like, and you were telling me earlier, like there's some things where you could just like, it's a simple fix of what you could do. It's like the simple fix is just say that this private is the comms guy. Like, yeah, he's the guy who you communicate to because he's the comms guy. But now but you don't say that. So it's like he's a private. It's like, why is the private giving all this information and not his superiors? Like that doesn't make any sense. It's like, I don't know, but it requires some thinking, and Zach doesn't like to do that.
Yeah, especially with this report, it's only lasts like a few seconds long. It was like, dude, if you got report shit, gonna last a lot longer than this. It's like, hey, is everything all right? Yeah, bye. Fuck.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, guys. It's like, yeah, I killed Noble. We're safe. Actually, you're not safe. I had a conversation where they're going to be coming in 5 days. Ah, damn. I guess we got to
Oh
protect
no.
the planet now. Okay,
I mean, not the planet, the village.
defend the village. And and then it's like, Chorus, like, what are you doing? It's like you know the Imperium. You know that they don't. It should be like Hydra, right? Like you kill one, somebody else will come back, right? I don't expect. It's not over until you kill Balisarius, I'm guessing. So I don't know where this idea that like, yeah, the war is over for this planet. We're not going to be under attack anymore. It doesn't make any sense.
And then, of course, I mean, this is a problem even in the first movie. Like, oh no, they're coming in 5 days. Okay, run, leave the place immediately.
Oh, we get some more problems too, especially when they show us. So we know that the ships for the Imperium, they have like heat seeking like technology that they can see exactly what is going on. They can see like who is inside buildings, like how many people are in there, how many people are in the village, and all that stuff. And it's like the weird part too is like in the third act when they start putting the you know the women and children in one of the barns, which fun fact, that was the barn where Sam got raped, and
Yeah.
I guess she had no problem with that moving forward, but whatever, I guess. But yeah, they put him in there, but then all of a sudden, then before that, they actually showed Cora putting her ship in a waterfall, which is far away from the village, And it's like, why didn't you just put the women and children there, out of the village and into the waterfall? Then this heat-seeking tracker would not find them, and they'd be way more safer in the waterfall than they would be in a barn in the village. That's just
Yeah,
sense to me.
yeah, it's like this is like we skip a lot of head for this one, but it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so BS.
yeah,
It's like it's one of those you just have to think, wow, Zack Snyder, how do you make plans on a farm?
yeah. And this is funny because this whole movie is about a farm propaganda. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, Korra and the action figures, they're basically doing the Seven Samurai thing, or
Yeah.
where it's like, yeah, we're going to be under attack in a few days, so we need to use this time to make up plans, make up traps, make up things that will set us apart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, so you get things like them
Uh,
trying to use hatchets, trying to use plasma guns, trying to use rocket blasters. Yeah, these peasants. All right.
Fuck
Uh,
you. 5 days to train them. How
and
about
then, yeah, go ahead.
5 days? Do you know how long does it take to train a soldier? Months.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You have better odds just bringing them away from the village than to protect them, train them to fight. And of course, everyone was like, "Yeah, I will fight the Mother World, even though they conquered the entire universe."
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and then it's like the other thing too is like when they have like say the training montage and all that stuff. All right, and then obviously classic Zack Snyder, you gotta do the slow motion. You know, they're cutting grain, and then they're like sifting the grain and all this stuff all in slow motion. And then he literally has like a thing like like in an interview saying, yeah, I don't like doing slow motion or like that. I'm not like, I don't know why people say that. It's like, yeah, you put 30 minutes worth of slow motion, and then it's like, oh, I do slow motion to make it heroic. It's like, yeah, you put a slow motion scene for a rape scene, so I don't want to hear that. So yeah, but yeah, anyway, and then it's like, oh, and then I don't know if you remember Darren Cross in the first movie. He was
Yeah.
saying like how they don't really like to rely on technology because they need to, like, there's more service when you do it work like manually and all that stuff. So all right, okay, I guess. But then you see like they have the tech like a hovercraft to carry the grain, and uh, it's like, so you have the technology to make a hovercraft, but you still need to cut the grain manually.
I mean, it's so weird because let me ask you this: how did everyone got guns and rocket launchers?
You're right, because they apparently the the Imperium that was who invaded like a little bit. They like apparently after they killed them all, they just like left their weapons there. So the guys just were just using that, and then
Why would they?
and
Why
then
would?
like I think like Titus said like, oh, we changed your harvesting tools into weapons because
That's not.
that's how that works.
No. And
Yeah,
why would the Imperium smuggle weapons in this farm village?
yeah. It's like I don't know what the point is to have all the weapons in there anyway. Um, unless you're planning on training them, like training the peasants to be on your side or something. But it's like, why would you do that? I mean, there could be a value to doing that, of course, but it's like clearly that wasn't your intention. So it's like, why then? If that's not your intention, then why would you do that? So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um,
And of
yeah,
course, everyone was just really good at using guns in like a few
yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah. The classic stuff. But yeah, they got to harvest. So yeah, as we mentioned, Agent Noble gets killed by Korra, but because Darth Vader parallel. So yeah, he survives. They tube him up with like a bunch of sex tubes to put him back to life, and yeah, it kind of gives him super strength, not really. Um, yeah, but I mean,
mean,
I'll give Noble this. Like, he's not like he is like evil for the sake of evil, which is kind of new nowadays for villains, and not trying to force him to be sympathetic and all that. But at the same time, he still isn't a character. So
I mean, if you really think about some like just evil because he's evil characters, like Hans Gruber from Die Hard, he has a lot to say when with John McClane. He just
yeah,
like taunts him and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna test you. He's actually written intelligently. He's smart. He doesn't want to waste time. He takes a lot of risk and stuff like those.
Green Goblin, if you want to go from a comic standpoint.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
uh,
there's some good
that's like
examples.
a lot of good examples. Voldemort.
Sidious,
Oh, Sauron.
Sauron, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like here's the thing. All of them are smart, intimidating. Actually, it's actually written competently, even if they don't have much going on.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think that's the other thing too. It's like I'll give like Noble something that like he does want to get into the front lines. Like he does try to he does like he's not the kind of villain that will like sit back and let the goons take over. He will like get in the front lines and all this stuff. So it's like I can appreciate it for that standpoint, but on the other hand, it's like I can't name you one thing about him uh that is like that shows me like why is he a leader? Why is he in charge outside of just being crazy?
I
But
mean,
yeah,
why is he even in charge? He literally lost to Korra against like five and like five people.
which is
That's
kind of embarrassing if you think about it.
Yeah, I was like, this guy should be demoted already.
Yeah, and then but then like Belisarius told him like in some plane of existence, I have no idea how that happened anyway, is that yeah, I need you to capture Korra, like capture her, alive. So yeah, that would be important later
Yep.
because they forget about that in part two.
Uh, oh right. Do you remember this Korra and Kai's? It's like what is it Kai? No, it's like what is the is it Kai? The Dario sex scene?
Dario, yeah.
No,
His name is Gunner.
Gunner. It's like yeah, I don't remember any of those names. So
Yeah, yeah. I just
that
call him
scene,
Dario.
yeah, do you remember the genius exposition of that scene?
Yeah. All right. That's like one of your clear rated R cuts. It's like, yeah, we're gonna see that sex scene for sure in the
Uh,
4 hour cut.
I mean, I would probably just look online. I'm not watching the fucking 4 hour cut.
Yeah, Sophia Patella is completely wasted in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I have to remember. Do you
everybody.
want to go for this fucking flashback?
Yeah.
This this
I'm
has
there right now.
just
Yeah,
because I think this is the worst out of
yeah.
every flashback of both movies.
Yeah, I will say that this is definitely the worst scene in the movie. But the second, I mean, like the flashbacks that happen later, it is one of the worst setups that I've ever seen in a movie too, which is really funny. But like, we'll get to that one. But yeah, for this flashback scene, they have sex, uh, and then
Not
at
built up at all, by the way. I mean, they only set up in the first scene of the first movie, and they never develop it further.
yeah, all that. I mean, like the setup to the sex is just like, yeah, I was just worried about you because like I didn't want you to die and all that stuff. So it's like that leads into sex. All right, fine, whatever. Then yeah, then the flashback is like she's basically just telling Gunner that like, yeah, so we were supposed to assassinate the king and queen. So you have to remember the film sets it up like the king should be sympathetic. That because like he's about to get murdered like Julius Caesar style, which I'm guessing that was the reference that they were trying to do with all the knives when this universe has plasma guns. But so yeah, But you have to remember the king is the one that started this war in the first place. Like Cariola's character.
Yeah,
If you remember
it's.
Princess and the Bride, the Princess Bride,
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie. That movie is
the Men in Black.
fantastic.
Yeah, Carrie is great. But not in this movie. But yeah, so it's like it's framed like in a sympathetic way. Like, oh, it's like, what are you doing? Why didn't you light up the furnaces? It's like, and then it's weird too. It's like you have like photon, laser powered engines, but then you have to light the furnaces of fire like a normal charcoal.
I
Yeah,
mean, by the way, by the way, apparently the feast or just the celebration is taking place in the boiling room, and no one was like, "Wait, that's so weird."
yeah. It's in the boiler room. And then it's like, yeah. So it's like you have to remember that this guy is the one that who started this war in the first place, made the Imperium be what it is today,
I
and all
mean,
this stuff. But because like his daughter is like space Jesus, he became
he,
good.
I mean,
All,
yeah, it's like it's so weird because in the first movie they say like what's it called? It's like because he felt bad and he wants the child to save the world or something. It's like
yeah,
it's like it's so clunky. I mean, I can read it back to you and you just think that this is BS. Yeah. Yeah, in the old stories, like blah blah blah, giving life, blah blah blah. And by the way, they think the princess is supposed to be a myth in the first movie.
right, yeah. But space Jesus.
Yeah.
Princess Issa, uh, the king and the queen. So yeah, they go into a boiler room, and so but the thing is, like, the king isn't treating like it. This is weird. The only thing he found weird is that, oh, why aren't the lights, like, why didn't you light up the chamber? So it's like, okay, so this wasn't the weird part that they sent him into a boiler room. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
but then
mean,
Balisarius turns around. He's like, and then everybody pulls out the knives. So it's like, so your Julius Caesar reference and all that stuff.
and by the way,
Which,
where are the robots? You know, the robots are supposed to be protecting the king and the princess.
yeah, and they never addressed Anthony Botkins' like character. It's like I don't know where he is. They don't explain in part one or part two why he wasn't there to protect the king and the princess.
Even though that is his fucking purpose.
That's why he was created.
Yeah.
And it's like, the
Yay.
problem is that if I didn't see it in this PG-13 cut for both iterations, what makes me think that it's going to be in the rated R cut for 4 hours of both movies? It's like, I mean, it's tough because, like, it's so clear that Anthony Botkins is one of the selling points to the 4 hour cut. Is like, oh, he has antlers now. It's like, don't you want to see how he got those antlers? It's like, no. I want to know why wasn't he there to protect the princess when that was his program? That's the point. That's the reason why he was created. I don't understand. Like, it's such a fundamental problem. It's like, why would you introduce a character if his purpose is not going to be fulfilled? And it's like, and then it's like, and then on the other hand, it's like I can see the interesting aspect of it is like he's a robot that's programmed to do something, and now that his like purpose is out, what can he do now? Like, what is the next part of his life that he has to go through? Now that those things seem to be over, but in fact, it won't be over because of how the movie ends.
Yay, because because Zack Snyder has no more story to tell, so it's like, yeah, let's bring the princess back to life.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, everybody pulls out the knives. They stab him, and then
They try to
so
frame.
then Cora shoots some of the Balisarius's guards, which is like, okay, so why is, so that's not a problem, and she's the only one with a gun, by the way. Nobody else
Uh,
has guns
and
in
they
in
try
the scene.
to and
And
so
then
weird.
she points the gun at Issa, and Issa is saying, "I forgive you."
By the way, they are friends. According to the first movie, they are friends.
Yeah,
Fuck you, because this is what friends are. Just shoot the other person.
yeah, and it's like you knew that they were going to kill the mom, dad, and princess. I guess you could have made a warning prior, or something like that, but guess not. So yeah, and then it's like, don't say that, like for the "I forgive you" part, and then but it's like, so it's like there's like something there in the sense of like, I get the idea, like, like I forgive you in that sense. It's like if I don't shoot you, Belisarius will kill you and me, and it's like I have to shoot to kill you
Yeah.
myself, but I don't want to do it either. It's like there's something there. At the end of the day, she is a child killer, uh,
Yeah.
but
It's
apparently not, because Deus Ex Machina.
it's such
Um,
a because this is like dude, you've seen better movies that uses this technique. They
yeah,
just it's like what was, and then you just and then you just look at this movie. It's like, so Bellasaris actually trying to
Ugh.
frame Korra, and they're using knives to kill everyone, and Korra is using gun. I was like, yeah.
Frostfree's delivery was hilarious. Like, kill her. It was so wacky. And then once the girl gets killed, then everybody's just murderer, murderer. It's in slow motion too, because everything's in slow motion. And speaking of, that's not even the funniest part. The funniest part is like this entire time there is a orchestra playing in the background, and they all have bags over their head. And so basically, it's supposed to be a homage, quote unquote, to Titanic. Where in Titanic they had the orchestra bit there.
Except the orchestra is used to calm the people down. Just like they try to sacrifice their lives to play instruments to hopefully save other people.
Yeah, and, like that's like a real thing from the Titanic. They actually played till the last man died, basically. So it's pretty badass. But yeah, it's like, so it's like Snyder's like putting this orchestra here, and it's like they're playing to the king getting murdered. There's like a gun going off, and it's like that doesn't bother them at all. It's like, you could get shot at any point by Korra, but it's like I guess like let's just keep playing the music.
I
And
mean,
yeah, it's a terrible
yeah. I mean,
homage.
they are blindfolded. Which, to be fair, someone will just question. It's like, but if they're blindfolded, how do they play instruments? I was like, dude, do you know how many people who are
Yeah,
blind in real life plays
yeah,
instruments?
yeah. I know how to. I mean, I've been playing music for a long time that I can close my eyes and play it just fine.
Yeah, that's not the problem. It's like, dude, it's like they have to listen to the gunshots. Like, okay, let's play it intensely. And
Yeah, let's play like bump bump bum.
I mean,
It's so goofy.
I mean,
But yeah, the biggest problem is like, why the fuck is it here in the first place?
yeah, it feels like a homage to.
And it's like,
Oh,
I mean, like, think about the Red Wedding as well. There was an
yeah,
orchestra there, but the point of that one is like they put the Lannister theme in the background, which is what sets Caitlyn off. About like, okay, there's something wrong, very wrong here, and there's like a Lannister theme in the background. In this in the first Doctor's, house, and like that's kind of weird. But yeah, there's like a reason why that theme was there, and like why the music was playing while the murders were happening. Plus, they were safe; they were like up on the higher balcony. But yeah, here it doesn't make any sense.
and was like, does this even happen? Oh right, Korra refused to shoot Belisarius for some reason.
Yeah, and just like at first I thought it was like, oh, maybe the plasma gun just like lost its ammo, because like it was like, okay, maybe not. But then she picks up like a machine gun, and she doesn't like. It's like, let me use this now to kill him. It's like, I guess not. Yeah, I don't. It makes no sense. And like this happens like twice. It's like you have a gun, you have a very clear thing to use it to kill somebody, but then they just don't do it. I'll talk about that second example in particular later.
By the way, why would Belisarius frame his stepdaughter instead of anyone else?
Oh, here's another thing. One of the points that he says is like, she's ethnically impure, which is like a reference to her skin color, which is like why would you do that? And it's like oh because he's racist, so racism is a bad guy trait. Okay, then why
Then
did you
what?
have her as a stepdaughter?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's like Sofia Boutella is Algerian, but like that has nothing to do with this movie. But it's like, but like I don't really know why is that a point. It's like, oh yeah, she's a murderer. Of course she is. Like she's ethnically impure. It's like okay, so because she's brown skinned, like that makes her a murderer. Then it's like, why did you have her as your daughter if that was the case? It doesn't make any sense. The thing is,
It's
like,
like,
Zack Snyder really wants him to be like a Nazi, but like,
but you. I mean,
I
yeah,
don't,
you're.
I
It's
don't
like
understand
I
why.
guess he is a Nazi, but it's like he's also really fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and it's like if you're gonna use like her ethnicity as like a reason why she's a bad guy, and then it's like then the question is on you. It's like why did you have her in your team in the first place? So you can blame her race. Like it doesn't make any sense.
yeah. And and the king was like, and the king, of course, I don't know why does like anyone just like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. Like, I was like, why would you try to kill her like him like this? And everything was like, oh, why would you host this meeting in the boarding room? It's like, dude, this scene is already the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, aside from Phase 4.
Yeah, nah, I don't know, man. This is like it took me 6 to 7 hours to watch this movie because I had to stop it every time something dumb happened,
I mean,
and it's like
yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like it's still not as dumb as there's a Kevin Feige robot controlling the entire universe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But like, it's weird because like I feel like in some cases like yeah it's worst writing, but like this has like worst writing and bad filmmaking plus on top of that, it's like it becomes unwatchable in
yeah.
that sense.
It's like
So
stealing
it's a
content
mix
from
of
the
things that like
people.
for Zack Snyder movies for me.
I mean, this scene just reminds me a lot of Eyes Wide Shut. If the last Stanley Kubrick movie, when Tom Cruise infiltrated the party, and there's a blind musician, everyone's wearing masks, and everyone's wearing coats, and he tried to infiltrate the party and stuff. Of course, at the end he got exposed, and they threatened to just they threaten him and tells him to leave,
Yeah,
stuff like these, and at the end it's just spoilers. It's just BS. Nothing is real. They're not trying to threaten him. They just want him to shut up. They're not trying to kill him.
but yeah, Cora takes the machine gun and shoots the guards from outside. All right, and then she just escapes, gets on a
Eh,
ship, and flies away.
How does
So
she do that? Fuck you.
there isn't more people out there. The ship had nothing to back her up or anything like that. Yeah, it's a bad attempt at Gamora.
Oh
Is all it
fuck.
is.
Yeah.
Then it's like whenever you have to remember in this film whenever you're watching it is that Star Wars Disney rejected this plot, this story, and that's probably the smartest thing they've done.
Funny.
Yeah, but yeah, this bonding for Gunner and Cora because she murdered a kid. And it's like, oh, but she said like I forgive you, and it's like it gave me hope that like I could be a better person. It's like, and then Gunner's like, yeah, you are a better person. It's like, yeah, okay, fuck off. Yeah, she murdered a kid, and you wanted to fuck her. So anyway,
I
all
mean,
right.
not just any kid. The kid that supposedly should be saving the entire universe. You know that.
Yeah, you've seen her do magic before too, so it's like she can bring things back to life. She has the power to. Where did she come from? I don't know. We still don't know because I guess to tease like part 5, 6 movies or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe God created her. Actually, knowing Zack Snyder, he probably just used this as a reason.
Because well, we do learn that God does exist in this universe. We'll get to that. Um,
It's like if a zombie movie, then you suddenly just like, hey, there are zombie robots, and oh wait, that actually happened with Zack Snyder.
yeah, yeah. So the next part is just kind of it not much happens because this is like this is mostly the action movie compared to the first part. So
Hey,
thank God the exposition is like limiting, but the exposition is still horrible. So yeah, they do all the training. They train all the villagers in combat. They start building trenches and tunnels in the fields,
yeah, because you
laying
can just do that
explosives.
in fucking 5 days with farmers.
Yeah, so the plan is like they're cutting up all the grain. I want you to realize they're trying to cut up all of the grain that they have and sprinkling it all over their buildings and village buildings and all that stuff so that when the guys come over, they won't just like do an aerial assault because they need the grain. And it's like, okay, so what if they say, no, I don't care. I'll shoot the grain anyway.
I mean,
Because you have to remember, because actually let me explain why that's bad. Because like let's lead into the next exposition scene, which is literally the scene of all five action figures. They all sit in a table, and Titus, played by Jamon Hussein, is like basically saying Hansu. He's basically
uh,
saying we need to understand ourselves. We need to tell the truth. We need to give our backstories so that
uh,
we know what we are fighting for.
no translation. I forgot to give you all characterization, so let's dump it all in one scene.
Which is weird because like they do a bunch of flashback scenes in the first part anyway. So it's like you have to remember there's like maybe 10, 11 flashbacks in both of these parts combined. It's really insane. But anyway, yeah. So basically, all the action figures just basically explain their backstory. Uh, so
Uh,
Titus says that he used to work for I guess he used to work for Balisarius or something like that, but then he
he
was
changes his mind because they try to fight against him for freedom. Just like what did why would you what is this the why is this the time that you change your mind? It's like everyone fought against you. Of course they will.
and then it's like
If they try to take
yeah,
over their place, what the fuck?
yeah. And then it's like and then Balisarius like he is like just kill me and let my men live. So then what Balisarius does is he shoots all the men, but then not Titus. So I guess he wants Titus to live with that like your request to get yourself killed and your men to survive. I'll kill your men so that you have to live with that. I mean, I guess I could see a kind of mechanism kind of like ideology there. Though I still don't know how he ended up where he ended up in part one. Maybe we have to see the flashback movie of Titus's character or something because he's the most likely character to I would expect to have a flashback movie, mainly because of his star power playing him.
Yeah, by the way, this is already the most nuanced compared to the other three because he actually made the choice to surrender himself, as nonsensical as it is.
Yeah. So the point of this flashback is to explain that I tried to surrender and I got my men killed, so I will never surrender again. Which the thing is, part one already explains that for us. So it's like we don't. So this is just kind of over explaining again for the sake of we need to do something in this movie for characterization because
I
otherwise
mean,
this will just be an action movie and nothing else.
well, to be fair, Titus actually acts more like a general in this movie because he actually give commands and make plans as
Yeah, yeah,
simple
yeah.
as they are.
I do think, and it's like, oh yeah, we skipped over the part where like after the 3 days of farming and stuff like that, like they go in the barn and Sam is giving like during all this time I made you guys gifts, uh,
Oh fuck! Right.
and it's like so like the general makes sense. It's like when I saw you, it's like you represent the strong will, like the center of focus and all that stuff, and it gives her that. It's like, okay, fine, that makes sense.
I mean,
But
he's the
then
one who made the plan for the grain stuff. I mean, that is stupid. Don't get me wrong. Especially if you've seen the first movie, the little bomb a city.
yeah. I'm going to explain exactly why his plan in this movie makes no sense. But like that explanation for the gift is like he represents strong will and all this stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I understand that. Then the next person, the shaved head one, she's like, you represent like when I saw you, you represent a light and shine, like shining of happiness. And it's like what?
No. This little girl is happier compared to everyone in the entire franchise.
Yeah, it's like Sam is more happy than the girl that she's saying is happy. I don't understand where this is coming from. But yeah, and then so Nemesis, the cyborg sword master, she has she has an interesting. So her name sucks, by the way. Yeah, but her story is kind of interesting if you were to think about it, because luckily Zach doesn't like you to think. Um, so basically, like she lost her children, and in this sense, like when she gets her gift, like like about like how she represents like a motherly figure for like some of these some of the farmer kids here, then like they're all celebrating and dancing and she's still looking at the gift like with sadness in her eyes, like with a tear coming out. And it's like I feel like it's an interesting idea to like kind of go into like how, like, you know, she lost her children back on her planet, and like she might find Velt as a new way to open up that motherly instinct again, even though it might bring her to her demise at the end, which is like that's like an interesting idea. But like then when she says her backstory, she's just talking about how she cut off her arms, and like I just want a revenge. And I cut off my arms to become more cyborg like. And yeah, let's focus more on the badass cyborg woman part and not the part where where she had somewhat of a character, like with like losing children and like how she would try to regain that motherly instinct again on this planet. I don't know. Like Zach is like, that's the problem. It's like sometimes it's like it's right. It's really right there. Just like rewrite it, and it's like you might actually have a better idea.
I mean, no. I mean, just to be clear, she came from a little fishing village, and she cut off her arm to have cyborg arms because
Yeah, and
like,
then Zack Snyder had to explain like why does she do that? It's like because the cyborg arms are like connected of her generation's blood. So when she puts the arms back on her bloodline, like from, so it's like that basically it puts all the knowledge of her ancestors into her body. And it's like dude, do you understand why people make fun of you? Is because you say dumb shit like this, man.
Yeah, you pretended this is something so deep. What is this? Am I watching Kill la Kill right now?
Yeah, it's, oh my god. It's like, it's how we double downs, man. It's like, again, I don't mind double downing your own projects and your writing and all that. So it happens. Like I understand, like you really want to defend your stuff, but man, if you're trying to tell me that the reason why her character is important is because she's wearing these cyborg arms because they're relics of her ancestors, and the ancient blood mixing with her blood now is like giving her all the knowledge powers.
And not just that, the robot
Be a
arms
cybernetic fighter. Yeah.
and not just that, the robot arms are powered by blood. I'm not kidding. That's a dialogue. My blood awakened them. They showed me how to fight, and I was reborn.
Yeah, it's like it's so painful because like Nemesis has like an interesting idea with the mother part, like losing her children. That was more interesting to me than the whole I'm a cybernetic badass. And it really does not play a factor at all. And like it's so annoying how it's like you focus on the wrong thing just to make her like more cool, I guess. And that's Snyder's problem in general with writing women in particular. Um, but yeah, and then the other guy, he apparently just like he was a prince on his planet. And then his mom died, like that kid from
Game of
that
Thrones.
Lannister kid in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh god, that
And
backstory is
then
tedious.
yeah, and then he just escapes off world. He couldn't escape with his mother. I guess not.
And by the way, do you remember in the first movie he said he has debt to pay or something? I was like, oh, so that's why you end up here because I have debt to pay, and then you just add this backstory of, oh, I'm actually royalty. Which, to be fair, they did mention that in the first movie.
Yeah.
And his entire planet got blown up, and he escaped, got that because reasons. It's like no, none
Yeah.
of them connects.
Then this is like the hippogriff planet, I guess. So that's why
Yeah.
he's good with taming hippogriffs.
Uh,
I don't know.
and by the way, if you look in the background, the hippogriff actually destroyed the ships.
Yeah. It's pretty strong. I don't know why you're not using it.
Yeah.
Or
And
where did the one that he used in part 1 go? Don't know. It's
Oh.
they left it back on that planet.
Yep.
Would have been strong if they still had it.
And by the way, the queen said, because my mom wants loyalty, she doesn't want to leave, but at the same time, she doesn't want the bloodline to gone forever, so she commits suicide.
Which is weird because like the son is still alive and he is the bloodline. So I don't really understand.
And just how did he escape again? I was like, dude, I was like, if you're escaping, you have like a lot of money because you're a fucking prince, or you have the car that you escape in, like a ship, because you have to fly off the planet.
Right.
Yeah, and you're royalty. How much does your clothes cost? Like millions.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Devra, the one with the shaved head, who apparently is shining bright like a sunshine of smiling and happiness.
Yeah.
Even though I don't remember that at all. Like her story, she said like, I never actually been on a war before, which is like, what, you're a lieutenant, you've never been in a war before? Why did they put you as a lieutenant then? And then it's like, but I guess that doesn't matter. Yeah, so she was a lieutenant who's never been in a war before. She was put as like a slave for the Imperium, and then the Blood Axes, played by Ray Fisher, who the Snyder dicksucker who was only there for the one movie. So yeah, they just save her, and like, so now she was a part of the Blood Axes, and okay. And yeah, so all these backstories are just, I hate the Imperium, and I'm going to fight for Velt because I hate the Imperium. And
nuance.
it's a lot of nuance. Yeah, these action figures don't really. There's a reason why we keep calling them action figures.
They don't have a distinct personality for one.
And it's like,
yeah.
They're
just like,
and Titus is like probably the closest of like having something, but he still doesn't have much either at the same time. It's just really his performance. Like, I actually believe him as a leader.
Yeah, because he's played by a good actor.
Yeah. And then they ask Cora, it's like, oh, what about you? Why aren't you saying your backstory? It's like, well, because I said my backstory like 3 times in this franchise already. So it's like, so let me just like summarize it. It's like, and then Titus is like, is that all? It's like, do you have anything else to add? It's like, so it's implying that Titus knows more to the story, which is why I am wondering, why is it not bothering you that she killed a little girl?
Because
but because he knows that she is alive. How does he know that she's alive? Don't know.
I mean, even if she doesn't kill the little girl, wouldn't she attempt to kill her bother you a bit?
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's like
and it's like it's kind of annoying too because like you really didn't like what could have stopped you from killing her. Maybe you killed Belisarius, and it's like, oh, it's like, are you worried about them killing you? It's like, oh, they don't have guns, so it's like, if Korra chose to kill Belisarius instead, like for example, like Mockingjay, instead
yeah.
of killing Snow, she kills Coin, right? You could have just done something like that. It's like, yeah, I'm supposed to kill the little girl. I'm gonna do it. Psych, I killed Belisarius. But then the problem is then the movie can't happen. But like again, I don't understand like this whole concept of I can't do this action because it'll cause conflicts apparently, but like then the conflicts don't make sense because in this in this boiler room nobody has guns, everybody only has knives, and Sophia Butella is the only one with a gun, and yet she's still terrified of her situation, like she feels like she's going to lose. I don't understand.
Yeah, actually, there's two people having guns. You know
But
that.
she already killed them.
Yeah, that's the thing, and just like let's just bring two people with a gun instead of everyone having a gun. Yeah, I mean
Because
it's
like
like
Snyder wanted to copy Julius Caesar so much, but then it's like the problem with Julius Caesar's death is like they were all done with like pens and knives or something like that. So okay, I still don't understand why you wanted this connection so bad. I guess you wanted people to say, "Oh my god, I recognize this connection to something in history." That's why Snyder's such a great director. But yeah,
yay, because writing is hard. Summarize. There's like especially if you really think about the first movie, you just realize that a lot of the backstory just doesn't make any sense at all.
oh no,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
and you got a prince who apparently escaped with a lot of wealth, and he lost all his money because I don't know why.
Yeah, and I remember the producer of this movie. Um, they were mentioning like that they had to film 4 movies at once. Part one rated R, part two rated R. And it's like, so why couldn't we just focus on the writing? Not the fact that we need to do 4 movies. Why do you have to do 4 movies anyway?
I have no idea. With
Because
Zack,
Snyder has a gimmick with Snyder cuts.
hey,
And
because that makes him so unique, right?
yeah.
Uh, and uh, it's like this is just so stupid, and we haven't even got to any fighting yet.
Yeah, yeah. Um did anything happen in Noble's side?
He commands a ship. Fuck, it's like
He's
after
mainly
this
just
is
giving directions. He doesn't
yeah,
really
that's it. He doesn't really do anything.
he's giving directions and just flying towards Velt. Is there any characterization? I don't think so.
No, he just kills a guy after he awakes. Which, by the way, why would they restrain him like this if he has the strength to just kill a person with just choking them?
Yeah, but you see, he had to show how evil he is because he choked him out, killed him that way. Then it's like, let me get the gun and let me shoot him in the head afterwards, because such a badass.
Yay, that's because that's writing.
Yeah. So yeah, Noble arrived. So we also talked about how Korra put so one of the plans is like, let's use Korra's old ship that she crashed here. Apparently, they never got anybody, like they never bothered it. They left it there. But then they take like 30 people to take up their training time to get the ship out. And the ship works, it flies. And then here's the problem. Part one makes it very clear that one of the biggest problems is that they don't have a ship and they need to fly off world to get more people on their team and stuff like that. So that's where they meet like Charlie Hunnam and all that. It's like so Korra had a working ship this entire time. They did not have to do that at all. And then if they did that, Charlie Hunnam probably wouldn't have betrayed them. They probably wouldn't kill like Blood Axe and all that stuff and everything like that. Yeah, the film would have been different if Cora just used her own ship.
If she has brain cells. And by the way, do you remember the first movie? They just like, oh, how does she hide the fact? Oh, you see, there's one old farmer hide the fact for her, and apparently you need 30 people to just get the ship here. Wait, I was like, how did this old person hide the ship then?
It says they left it there, but it's like it was like far off from the village or something, which is like this planet must be like really. It's like it's a big planet, but like it seems like the only people that exist are the villagers and nobody else. Like I
Well,
don't know. It's like it's kind of weird because like if you think about Tatooine, like you still have like multiple cities in Tatooine, not just like Mos
no, in the
Eisley. You
first
also
movie,
have yeah,
in the first movie, they literally have a village. They literally have a town like after they walk for a day.
right. So that there are more people. I just don't understand like so, and then it's weird because like they don't get any reinforcements either from maybe the neighboring villages or towns or anything like that.
And the
It's just
Imperium are.
it's just these farmers
Oh,
here.
oh fuck! The Imperium are in that village, not in that village, in that town already. Why would they take like 5 days to came here?
Apparently, Cora killed them all
Fuck
except
you!
except for Arius. But Arius is a good guy now because he likes the blonde girl. So all
That's
right,
writing.
yeah. It, it's such a weird franchise. What else? What else? Right. So yeah, they take the ship and then she flies it under the waterfall, which brings my question: like, why can't she just put the women and children in that waterfall? They'd be way more safer up there than being in the village. Uh, but it's like, oh, because they have Nemesis going to protect them. Yeah, Nemesis is one person with two cybernetic lightsabers. She can't protect all the women and children there. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, stupid planning. And then Anthony Hopkins finally comes in and talks. Uh, and the first thing he does is reiterates his backstory from part one. It's like, I was created to protect a king that it doesn't exist anymore and protect a princess that doesn't exist anymore. And who am I? I don't know, but I feel like you're going to lose this war. And yeah,
Yeah. I
and
was like, where
then
the fuck are you?
Cora's like, we're not so different, you and I. It's like we were both programmed to kill, and all that. All right, though we're not so different, you and I trope.
Yeah,
Uh,
because that is so not overdone already.
yeah, and then again, he just has nothing going on until halfway through the third act, which, as we said, the third act is probably like over 50 minutes. Which is
Yeah.
kind of where we are at right now.
Don't
So
worry.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'll think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll think of more problems as we go along. In the part we talked already.
Noble sees that all the grain is covering up all the buildings. So it's like, oh, it's like Titus is a genius for that because then we can't just shoot him out because otherwise we'd kill the assets.
I was like,
Which
why
is
not?
What is like, okay, I could see that perspective. It's like if you really want the grain, then yeah, destroying it is not a great idea. But then again, it's like apparently they don't know how to cultivate farming. So it's like, okay, then if you kill the peasants, then who's going to farm for you? Because apparently you guys don't know how to farm. So why would you kill the peasants? So that doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
Then
and
it's like
then
it could be a situation. It's like, oh, we have so much of the weaponry. We don't. It's like we could kill you. It's like, but if we kill you, then you guys will lose everybody, and then all that stuff. It's like you might as well just surrender and join us and all this stuff, so that you can be farmers for us. So okay, but like but that option is not on the table for some reason. So Yeah, none of it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like asking Zack Snyder to write this, asking him to direct.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So it's a genius plan, but then here's the funny part. Eventually, that just doesn't matter. They start shooting up all the buildings. They start exploding things. They start throwing weapons and cannons and all that stuff into the buildings and destroying all the grain. So then it's like, okay, so you don't want the grain then, because if you're willing to, because like, so here's another thing too. It's like, so he's like, okay, so they put all the grain on the building so that we can't just shoot the buildings, otherwise would destroy the grain. Okay, fine. So like let's bring in a spec ops team to attack the women and children that are locked up in this barn.
Yeah, which is like, why would you?
Okay, and it's like, okay,
Why?
so if you do a spec ops team, okay, so you're intending to fight on the ground so that you have less chances of doing explosions and stuff like that.
Well,
Okay, it's still a bit of a stretch, but fine. I guess there's some semblance of like, okay, if you have gunners and lightsaber people, like you're less likely to explode a building or like explode the grain assets and stuff like that. Okay. But then later he just brings in all the tanks and missiles and guns and ships and all that stuff and shoots at the buildings and it's like, okay, so now you just don't care about the grain. So it's like, and then it's so annoying too because the grain is like, the Dunes version of the spice. So
yeah,
uh,
and speaking of which, why don't you just copy Dune? With knights. Dude, Zack, you literally have people using lightsabers in this universe. Just have all your soldiers armed with lightsabers. I mean, they could have a gun on their side, but just command them. Yeah, use your lightsabers just in case you destroy the grain. I was like, I mean, you have a chance to copy stuff, and you just didn't at this point.
yeah, yeah. So of course everything is broken up into parts, like a video game. So Noble gets down on the ground and he talks to Cora. Cora is so he's basically saying like, it's like here's I had to keep the scar because like the Scargiver. I need to be remembered about how the Scargiver kicked my ass. Uh, all right, simp. Um, and yeah, so then he's like, we don't have to shed any bloodshed. Just come over, surrender yourself, put yourself in the boat. I mean, in the ship, and all these people who live. And then Cora does consider that, like she's trying to not have a fight because she doesn't want more people to die for her. And then Gunner, he's like, no, fuck that. And then he shoots the bell to start the war.
Yeah, why would Korra just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna change my mind now? It's like that's too late for that, don't you think?
It's kind of weird because like Cora never has like this like why'd you do that? It's like what like that never happens. But yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and like that, like once the bell rung, the guy who was underground, he immediately gets up, shoots like a rocket launcher and destroys a ship, which like kind of knocks Noble off his feet. It's lucky that he didn't shoot Noble, uh, but at least I guess he destroyed a ship. So that starts the war. Um,
yeah, and by the way, I forgot to say, it's like you remember Titus's backstory where he surrenders and everyone got killed. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, if Korra surrenders, he just gotta get everyone killed.
that's what I'm saying. That's a good point. I did want to reference that. It's like Titus is so he's like relying on the fact it's like, oh, maybe we can negotiate with Noble and Belisarius. It's like that's why he's putting all the grain on the buildings because like it will allow Korra to negotiate with them. And it's like, no, you saw how he killed your entire men just to prove a point that like, dude, it's like I'm not going to take your act of surrender by killing you and saving everybody else. I'm going to kill them, and you're just going to have to live with that. That was like the punishment. So it's like I don't know where you got this idea of Titus that they're going to just accept an act of surrender, or they're just going to accept like a negotiation. They're not going to negotiate, man. I don't know where this is coming from, and that's kind of the thing. Is like it's not a plot hole, but it's like it's a plot hole because of how stupid the character is. That kind of thing. It's like the character is
Yeah.
speaking in terms that like he would not be able to. He should not be doing, but yet they do it because the plot says so.
Yeah, because we need some hesitation before the start. I don't know. I mean, let's just copy Rogue One again. All right, do you guys remember the scene that Matt Mikkelsen got his entire men killed because he refused that he's the spy and just wants them to, because he doesn't want his men to die.
Yeah, Dario kind of reminds me of Andor, so makes sense.
Oh well.
Yeah. So the war starts. People are fighting. People are getting killed. And all
I
this and that.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot of hey shoot belt. To be honest, I'm at this point I'm just wondering like how long is the script?
Uh, like maybe 4 pages. A lot of it's just slow motion, or it's either slow motion or shoot, pew, pew, punch, punch, knife. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 pages sounds about right.
I mean they are. I mean all those dialogues was the improvisation. Just have all the actors just like come on son, let's just say random shit. Which to be fair, it does sounds like that.
It sounds like AI wrote the script. Oh man. Especially with how repetitive all the backstories were, it definitely sounds like AI wrote the script.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's like
some key moments of the fight, because breaking down fights is kind of difficult.
I
One of
mean
them is
let's just get
one of them that stands out to me was like that one guy who had his rifle in his hand, but he sees Noble walking back to his ship, and then he's like, you know what? I'm just not going to use my rifle, my explosives, my guns, my rocket launcher that was sitting right next to me. I'm not going to use any of those. I'm just going to go up to him and fight him with my fists. And then it's like, oh, my fists aren't working. Let me pull out this knife instead. And it's like, okay, dude, you could have shot him. You could have done anything else. But you actively chose to drop all your weapons that you had to fight him fist to fist. And then, then Noble kills him. He falls off the ship. They have sad music in slow motion when he dies. It's like, I don't care because, God, you were so stupid. Just use the gun.
I mean, a lot of times I was like, wait, who the fuck is this guy? I don't remember you.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird too, is because like they put so much focus on this guy, and I thought he was one of the action figures, but he's not. He's just somebody else. He's a random guy. He's not. He's not.
By the way,
Yeah, he's not any of the action figures.
What's worse is the movie said if you kill the general, they will stop the invasion. So you're so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, if you so it's like if you actually killed him, like it would have been over. But yeah, no, so they do that.
And then I remember there's a scene like Bella's what the general Noble was like he just walks into the trench and he just tried to punch everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone just tried to run at him. It's like let's just run him, let's just turn his back
Let's
on
run at him
instead
so
of
that he can
shoot.
snap my neck. Yeah, and so I had. Oh my god, there was like a funny instance where a man gives a woman a pistol. It's like, here, take it, and then Noble's right behind her and snaps her neck. It's like, and like if you look closely, the way he put the pistol in her hand, it was like backwards. So like it wasn't even in her hand the correct way. So it's like, dude, you just got her killed for no reason. And then he just kills the other guy too. It's like. And it's like, you had the pistol in your hand. You could have just shot him from like with that pistol, but you gave it to her instead. And it's like, and you gave it to her incorrectly. Oh my god, it's so funny.
It's so stupid.
They think he's Terminator.
I mean, at least big about but the thing is, Terminator is a robot, so he can't be shot to death. Shoot, like have.
But he has superhuman strength, though. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and he doesn't need. But the thing is, yeah, that's a thing. Just shoot him. What a shit movie. Okay, so what are the other action scenes again? All right, all the soldiers just goes to the room with Nemesis.
Also that Tarak, the prince prince. Apparently, he's only fighting with axes, but yet he can like fight people with guns and armors like super easily, no problem, because he has plot armor.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, and no, and he literally just rushed the entire army, and everyone's like, and none of them actually hits him.
What's it's funny too because like his battle squadrons like have like their farmers who are using their regular farmer tools and not like weapons or pistols or anything like that. It's like, yeah, let's die. We must die together. It's like that's like a weird way to motivate them. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's and what's happening? It's like, remember like the team. Do you remember the people who assaulted Nemesis? There's only one guy with a gun, which is not a problem if you didn't just say that everyone decided to just shoot everyone instead.
yeah,
So
and then they show like she does have some ability to block it like a lightsaber. That apparently it's not a lightsaber because yeah, she has red and the bad guys have blue. So creative, guys.
yeah, and everyone, and she to be honest, I can't give less of a shit. She dies. I mean, surprisingly, because everyone is just packed with plot armor.
Yeah, I mean, at least one of them died. Um,
I mean, there's still one more at the end, but we'll get to that.
yeah, but he's not. They don't consider him as an action figure, to be fair.
Hmm.
It's kind of
Oh
weird.
well.
But yeah,
By the way, do you remember?
the whole
Do
Nemesis
you,
thing, like, I'm just trying to go through the Nemesis one because like, so it's like all contained in that one scene. Yeah, so she's just basically fighting with a bunch of lightsabers, one on five, seven, whatever. Some of the people in the farm have guns, but they're just like, I don't want to do it yet. I'm kind of scared, and it's like, no, let me shoot her now. And it's like, okay, yeah. And then eventually she does get stabbed in the gut. Then one kid, she was getting choked out or something like that, and the kid like comes in to hit him in the leg, and then he tries to attack the kid, and then she uses that knife to stab him in the neck to kill that guy, and then she dies in the child's arms. Which is like I get it's like again I know what it's trying to go for because like this time she died like instead of like her children dying to her, she died to save children. So it's like I understand what he was going for, but like you did such a poor job showing me that. It's like because like I had to come to that conclusion because I know what you're trying to do, but like you didn't really do it. No
I
matter how
mean,
much you think you did.
yeah, it just sounds like, oh, I protected a bunch of people. I died. And it doesn't even make sense. Do you remember there's a scene that there's a girl who literally just shot, like, open fire once and she has to reload?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you give her that gun? Actually, why are guns designed like this?
Yeah, the technology doesn't make sense in this universe.
Uh,
So yeah, here's a big part. The Cora Gunner part. So apparently, what they plan to do is use the old ship, the old Cora ship, to fly towards the dreadnought, and they're pretending that it's a ship that got like damaged, so they need to get it repaired, all this stuff. We got injured soldiers up here. Okay. So first off, so there's no questioning on like the clearance codes of this ship. There is no identification numbers asked. There's nothing to indicate that these Imperiums would want to know, is this actually a ship of theirs or is it somebody stealing their ship and pretending to be bad guys
uh,
to get into their ship?
yep.
None of those questions are happening. It's doing the whole. It's following Kenobi, is what I'm trying to get at. Where
Yeah.
they steal a ship, they go inside. There's no questions whatsoever about. You know, it's kind
What's
of
your
weird
point?
that these old clearance codes are coming in when they should be updated or something like that. I mean, Korra left that planet like a while ago, so
Yeah. And
they should have probably decommissioned that ship's clearance code anyway. But
I mean,
again, they don't even ask her.
I mean,
So,
everyone tries to copy Return of a Jedi, which has a similar scene. But the problem is, Darth Vader intended for them to just go in. Because, he senses Luke and stuff, and this is actually a trap.
right.
And it's like, and Kenobi and Rebel Moon Part 2 just like did it unironically.
Yeah, they missed the point. They missed the point of why that was there in the. I even Rebels. I think Star Wars Rebels did that too.
Oh yeah, the Star Wars Rebels suck at that. They keep infiltrating the Empire and no one just realized, hey, why the fuck don't we just check at the identification?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those scenes. Like, I mean, props to the creativity of opening the hatch and then having a smog come out of it. I guess it's creative. It's like let's wear their armor, the armor of the old members from the people that Korra killed in part 1. She would wear the armor with the blood stains on it. It's like, oh, we can use that so that like they'll think that we have injured people and all this stuff. It's like, okay, I guess you're putting some thought into how to infiltrate, but like again, the Imperium is stupid for not even trying to deject the ship in the first place or question the ship in general, especially since you're there's a war going on down there. There could be a possibility that some rebels or some of your opposition might have gotten on that ship trying to get to your ship, the Dreadnought, and it makes no sense. I mean, can you imagine like somebody taking the TIE fighter and going up to a Star Destroyer and then just like, yeah, let me let's can you get me back here? It's like, oh, can you prove that you're not a rebel? It doesn't make sense.
I feel like I've seen that movie before somewhere or show before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Korra and Gunner they make it up in the ship. Korra. Oh yeah, they make right. They also make a big deal of Korra cutting her hair to the mohawk. I hate that. But that's
anyways.
a nitpick. That's a nitpick. But yeah, they get on the ship. Korra pretends to be Gunner pretends to be like one of the guys, and Korra pretends to be the injured soldier. Then it's like, oh, you're not injured. It's like then she like shoots everybody.
And by the way, do you notice a medical bay has like no medical equipment?
Yeah, there was no medical equipment in there.
And then the other thing is like, dude, if you're gonna check on some, raise them to the hospital, wouldn't you like remove their helmet so you give them air to breathe, just in case?
Yeah.
And there's no security guards in this ship for some reason.
I also don't really understand why. So they heard a woman speaking through the comms, like to them. It's like, oh yeah, we have injuries on this ship. Okay, so why isn't she dressed up as the one that's not injured and Gunner's the one pretending to be injured? It's kind of weird. I don't know. She like Korra didn't sound like she was injured in the thing, so it's like I just don't understand why did they put Korra as that. I guess it's to do the bamboozle of let me grab his gun and shoot everybody instead of I don't know maybe having a gun of your own.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then they split up. Yeah.
And by the way, Korra didn't just wear all the armors again to disguise herself. Just take one of them and just pretend to be like a soldier, so you can sneak in the place so much easier. Which, to be fair, the movie literally just have her teleport to the engine room for some reason.
They need to show her biceps.
What is this? Kenobi. All right, that's probably the thing that inspires Zack Snyder the most.
Yeah. So they split up. Korra splits up. Korra goes into like the heart of the ship, which So if
No.
you,
By the way,
so
no security, no guards, no entrance code, nothing.
yeah, she just goes right in. And she starts putting bombs on the heart of the ship. Now the thing is, if you look a little bit closely, the heart of the ship has eyes. It's a living thing. She's putting bombs on. That is because apparently it is called the Kali. Uh, the Kali is a so according to the wiki of Rebel Moon, Kali is a interdimensional entity that the Imperium stole and had them power up their ship. So yeah, so basically Korra's putting bombs on a living celestial thing. Um, so she's gonna kill it, just to destroy the dreadnought. How did the Imperium get hands on a god to power their ships? I have no idea. And again, I only found that out through the wiki. I don't even know. It's not even something explained in the movie.
I mean, the movie hints at it. They actually mentioned God twice. Like, it's like, this is God tell me to do shit. Like at that point, just like fuck off. I don't even understand anymore. No, seriously. They literally said, "This is treason. I command this ship. By the old gods, I will have each and every one of you court-martialed." We're just like, wait. Does no one work for God now? I was like, I'm not sure because there's actually a line that said, "Oh, I work for the God for some reason."
Yeah, the I don't know if you notice, well, like it does blink when she's putting the bombs on it, like blue eyes, but like Korra never really like acknowledges that, or like because like this isn't a problem to her, that she's gonna kill a celestial.
Yeah. And then yeah, and it's such a weird movie. That's what I'm gonna say. If this feels like Black Widow, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just they just pretend to be injured people or people on their side, infiltrate them, put bombs on the engine, and try to and have that skydiving fight at the end.
yeah. Jimmy realizes that Sam is in danger, so that's why he comes to help. After all
Oh
this time,
fuck!
he never had like that semblance that, oh wait, Sam might be in danger. Maybe
Oh
I should help
shit!
her. Yeah,
No,
he figures
no,
that out in the last 20 minutes.
yeah. Better late than never, I guess. By the way,
Yeah, which is
this
funny because like the first thing he does is shove people. Like, yeah, let me push him on the ground. Yeah, that really stopped him. Uh,
yeah.
and
Uh,
then he gets the gun later. But like, yeah,
It's oh well. And this guy literally just how to describe it? It feels like he's trying to do the Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars show, not the 3D Clone Wars show, the 2D one, where
yeah,
Mace Windu just destroy a lot of robots by himself.
right.
Yeah, that one, and he just came in and just cleared the entire army himself. I was like, dude, you should. Why aren't you protecting the girl, protecting the princess, and here at the start, and you literally have wiped the floor of everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
About
Uh,
Yeah,
because
and
it's weird because like he wants to do the whole like, oh, he's out of his programming. Like, what do I do? Like, what is my purpose now? It was like that could be super interesting, and you got Anthony Hopkins somehow, and then, but yeah, it's like, but you do nothing with it because I'm guessing it's for the rated R cut. But it's like, but why? What could he possibly do that's rated R? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know, probably Zack Snyder just film a bunch of scenes of the robot tearing people to shreds.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it is. Like he's probably like super uber violent, which I can't even imagine for this character.
Yeah, probably he has a
Like
different personality,
maybe, yeah,
maybe. And by the way, this entire sequence just makes me think of Phantom Menace, where the evil empire, not the empire, you know the Trade Federation or something, attack the guns, and they have to use their really not advanced technology to protect them. And and at the end they almost lose until the Korra saves them. And this is also because the entire movie is cut between like, okay, infiltrating the capital, the ship at this instance, and the battle on the other side. And Zack Snyder somehow did it worse than the Phantom Menace, because the Gungans has force fields, actual technology, weapons that can combat lasers, people who can actually fight.
Right.
This
These are
is
just peasants.
Yeah.
Which Darren Cross specifically said they don't rely on technology because they need to go back to the purities of humanity by working manually and all that stuff. Which I understand that concept, but in this world with sci-fi, I don't really know how that still applies. But all right.
And which is funny because George Lucas really solved that problem. The Gungans don't use guns and stuff. They have like electric balls and force field generated stuff, which like for the underground tunnel. He actually mixed the pleasant and technology stuff together, unlike Zack Snyder. And you wonder why Star Wars and Lucasfilm rejected him.
Oh man. So yeah, that brings us back to Korra. She finds Noble. Noble's like being an anime villain, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill you." It's like, oh, but
no shit. Wait, dude, you literally skipped the entire sequence of how the Korra got caught.
She just walks down the hallway and they just like, oh wait, you're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like randomized.
Yeah, there's a guy just teleported.
Yeah.
And she shot him, and she just jumped down the building for no reason. And by the way, she literally just do a superhero landing at the end, and it's completely fine.
Black Widow.
Yay! I remember that movie. I hate that movie, but sure. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's having his anime villain speech. How he's gonna kill her and all that stuff. Which, again, if you remember the end of part 1, Balisarius specifically tells him that you cannot kill her. You need to bring her to me. But yeah, I guess he just doesn't care anymore.
To be fair, he forgot to care when he tried to negotiate. Just tell her to surrender.
Yeah, we forgot.
Just shot at her.
We forgot this part in the beginning of his character. Is like they have the medical guy say that he's lost a part of his brain.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that explains him, not everyone else in the movie.
That explains his part, but not everybody else. Yeah. Yeah, so they have a lightsaber battle, but before that, Korra actually picks up a lightsaber, but it burns her hand because apparently you can't touch it with your normal hands, which is like pretty weird.
Yeah, which is like,
why would you design a lightsaber that you can't hold?
I don't know. I mean, the best version is like oh, you see the blade has like fingerprint recognition or something. If you touch it, you'll get burned.
Yeah, but the problem there is like, it's like with the cybernetic nemesis lady, it's like she has like robot hands, okay, and then whenever you see other people use lightsabers, they have like armor, like the other soldiers, okay, so they have armor to cover their hands from getting burned, okay, so then, but all she does is takes a cloth, wraps it around her hand, and it's fine. So I'm pretty sure cloth is flammable. So
yeah, and Korra. By the way, before that, Korra literally kills the entire army with a gun. Yeah. And by the way, this is bullshit because Korra should be shot to death. But instead of picking any of those guns, she just picked the lightsaber.
Yeah, she. I remember like when she came out of the elevator, she like kicks one guy and he knocks all 12 of them back. Yeah. Like I'm just saying, like, dude, this role seems like it was made for Katie O'Brien. Like, because you clearly don't care about uh, Cora's personality or her acting ability or anything like that. So I really don't know why you didn't just pick a bodybuilder for Cora if this is all you cared about, Zack Snyder. But I don't know.
I mean, you can literally just go to MMA, just like, hey, does anyone want to be a lead actor in my film?
Yeah.
Like, and to be honest, a lot of people would say yes because because apparently there's a lot of wrestler turned actors nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, she can like kick one guy and he can knock 12 people off their feet, because that's how that works. Yeah, so all that fighting, she gets a lightsaber. She wraps cloth around her wrist, and it's fine now. Now she has a lightsaber battle with Noble. Um,
By the way, Noble just use a lightsaber instead of just use a gun for some reason.
yeah, but he lost brain power. To be fair.
and his ability to command an entire army or something.
Yeah. Then eventually Gunner tries to help, but like he reflects uh, but like Noble reflects the blast to hit Gunner in the chest, so that's killing him. So yeah, so now uh, Noble and Core are having a fight, and then eventually the bombs go off. They kill the celestial goddess. That
And
causes the dreadnought to fall to
by
the
the way,
ground.
yeah, do you remember like how the bomb sequence is? It's literally the guys inspected it, and instead of just say, "There's bombs on the ship," they're like, hey, sir."
Oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, jeez. Like Morty.
yeah. Isn't
Oh,
that funny?
oh, jeez, Rick. Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, it just explodes, and the ship starts falling towards the ground. Which, by the way, so lucky that it just not going to hit the village, right? You're just
Yeah.
going to destroy that ship, and it does kind of hit the village. Just luckily it hits like the outskirts, but yeah,
Oh well.
that was a dumb plan. Um, yeah. So Noble, they have a fight. They're fighting while the ship is falling. That kind of action sequence. Um,
Yeah,
Korra, yeah. Then eventually it gets to a point where Korra gets choked out. But then
By the way, both of them should be dead because there's so much debris just falling over them,
yeah,
and none of them hit them for some reason.
yeah, yeah. But then Noble's on top. He's choking her. He's saying, "Open your eyes. I want to see the lights leave your eyes." Which again,
Fuck off.
yeah, it's like the Voldemort speech to Harry.
Remember, he wants her. He wants her alive.
Balisarius wants her alive, which is, yeah, I guess not. And then all of a sudden we get a cheap shot by Gunner. He takes the lightsaber.
He just teleports. By the way.
He teleports and stabs Atticus through the chest.
And
it's like, which is like, first off, lame. By the way, it's like, I don't know, Zach. It's like, aren't you like a rule of cool guy? Like, what kind of person like? You have a hero get saved by a blindside. That's kind of stupid in my opinion. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I guess it's not like bad in the sense of like, yeah, it's like, if you can help out, man. Like, help out the hero. It's like, why are you just standing there waiting? That kind of thing. Is like, I understand that, but on the other side, it's like, damn, this is our protagonist, and they can't figure out on their own. Like, they can't use their wits or their abilities, or like, that kind of makes them lame. So there's that disappointment factor as well. Though it's all stupid writing anyway.
yeah, and remember,
Then, yeah,
the blade is so hard you have to put a piece of a cloth to do so, and Gunner just do it with her spare hands.
yeah. I guess he's dying anyways. So,
I
he
mean,
doesn't acknowledge that it hurts.
for some reason.
Yeah.
And instead of using a gun, because guns are so much easier used than knives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another nitpick, but like, all the characters pronounces his name differently. Like, they either say Gunner or Guna. It's like I don't. Why would you write it that way?
Yeah, because culture or something,
Yeah,
probably.
maybe. Yeah. So then Noble falls. He gets caught uh, in a thing, but apparently he's caught in a place where uh, Korra can like press a button that will lock him in place because that's how that works. And then it's enough so that his arm is out and his head is up. So then Gunner gives her the lightsaber, and then he
Cut his.
cuts off his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so yeah, he's finally dead for good. Maybe.
Maybe. I just don't even want to remember this movie. Hey, I don't even. Fuck! I forgot Titus and the princess in this movie.
Yeah, but we're actually
Uh,
we also kind of cut back to the people on the ground.
yeah.
So all of a sudden, Blood Axe's sister just comes in and brings in like the Air Force troops and shoots up all the rest of the ships in the sky.
Where the fuck are you guys?
Like, where did you come? Like all this time, it's like, why weren't you here at the beginning? You had. It's like, yeah, she just shows up. It's literally Rebels, not Rebels. It's literally Rise of Skywalker. Oh my god, man! It's Rise of Skywalker with Lando bringing in the forces. Except I don't even understand how this happened because she just came out of nowhere.
Rise of Skywalker tried to explain more than this fucking movie.
Yeah, at least Lando had the explanation.
I mean, shit.
With how stupid it was. Yeah. Deborah Bloodaxe and her rebel forces, they just arrive and they just shoot up all the rest of the troops and and that leads to victory.
I mean, to be fair, they are as stupid as Titus and the Beast Tamer guy. Do you remember they in this battle? I forgot to mention, their entire plan is to charge at the enemy without taking cover, and it somehow works.
Yeah, and also speaking of set designs, like, so they kind of mix up. So it's weird. Like, it's very clear that Zack is using inspirations from The Hobbit, as well as like Star Wars and
Seven Samurai.
So it's like because like they have the Hobbit village, like where all like the bridge and the all the townhomes and all that stuff. You have that, and the Seven Samurai, all the grain stuff, and then you have Tatooine influences too. So it's like, yeah, you can definitely see all these little things here and there throughout this movie. Yeah, that's how you make a franchise.
Yeah, and also copy from Black Widow because why not? Everyone loves that movie. I mean, I didn't hear any person who loved that movie, but sure.
Yeah. And then then Gunner dies. He's like, but before he dies, he's like,
Oh yeah,
the I love yous and like you did nothing wrong.
Stuff like shit like that.
Which is funny because the you did nothing wrong is about you killed a girl, you killed a child.
Yeah.
But you did nothing wrong, I guess.
Yeah. Also, by the way, they only Korra stole a ship for some reason because even though everything is literally just falling down, she managed to steal one even though after like taking a lot of damages.
Yeah.
And the ship is like upside down on her angle.
Yep.
What the fuck? It's like the more you stop to think about it, the more problems you realized. What the fuck? What is even happening anymore in this movie?
Right, and then one of the big factors. Yeah, so Gunnar dies. Then they have the funeral scene where the village is mourning for the dead. And then Korra's like, I don't want you guys to remember me. Like, don't put me in your memories because, like, I lied to you all. It's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, no shit. You're one of the most famous person of the entire universe.
You're terrible at lying. You're the most wanted person. We already know what you did. It's like, yeah, you killed a girl, right? It's not a big because she's still alive. Wait, she's alive? How'd you know that? I don't know. I just know that. And it's like, do you know where she is? No, but we can go look for her.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like Titus. Like you knew that the girl was alive. You knew that this was going to eat her up. This is eating her up, like personally, kind of. The film does a terrible job showing you that. Uh, but yeah, it's like I don't really understand. Like, why did it take until Gunner's death for you to admit that the girl is alive? That probably would have changed Cora's perspective on everything and make her more clear-headed in the fight if she were not. But then at the same time, it's like she got bailed out. Like
I
she thought she killed a girl, and it's like she didn't though.
and the other thing is, what is Titus doing the entire time if he knows that the princess is still alive?
It's like
I mean,
why would you hide that information from Cora?
and
Because
why
Cora's hiding that she killed her.
and why are you? And this is isn't this assassination supposed to be a secret, or are you supposed to frame Cora? Why would why would the mother world mix not try to hide? Okay, sorry. Why would the mother world doesn't just have Cora killing the princess be public knowledge of everywhere? I mean, that's basically how they frame her.
That's why she's the most wanted criminal in the galaxy,
Yeah. What? What's
in the
this like?
universe.
How do Titus knows that? I have no idea. And it's like, if anything, everyone should know that she kills the daughter because that's a world building you set up.
Yeah.
Uh,
I find it funny how they introduced the wormhole pussy thing in the first scene of the movie of part one, and they'd never do that again.
I think they did that in the first scene again, but I don't want to remember.
Yeah. 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 So everybody's like, yeah, the girl's alive. So we need to set up part three, the part three movie. So
Yeah.
let's just say that we need to find the girl now. This
Fuck
is
yeah.
this is their Siri from The Witcher.
Yeah, except, but any competent writer would just like, oh, we'll just have like, we just have this. General Noble just like, oh, you think you're so special? Why do you want to kill me? Because you killed a little girl. Guess what? The little girl is still alive. Well, it was like, whatever, like Princess Isa. I don't care enough to remember the name the entire time.
Yeah, and then like even
Yeah,
Jimmy's kind of assassinated. Is like, yeah, it's like I really don't want to do anything, but now it's like told that the princess is alive. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do something now.
yeah. It's like
Again,
sex.
there's just no character that like is redeeming or like a hero,
Yeah, just
despite how
sex.
much they tell you that they are.
Yeah, it's Zack Snyder. He was like, Zack Snyder is so stupid. You just have character just reveal information, just like, oh, this is how they reveal information. I mean, if you have like the main villain reveal that information, at least they will have something to talk about in the final battle, to have some conflict, to have some characterization, to have anything. But no, Korra and General Titus barely have anything to say in their final confrontation.
Yeah, and even in things like Balisarius like killing the king, it's like it's framed in a way that the king should be sympathetic for being killed, but you have to remember the king is the one that started this war in the first place. He's kind of like your. I guess he's your emperor in a sense, but he's not really because Balisarius like kills him for that reason. But it's like it's basically two dicks like killing each other.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you see, the king feels bad now because he gave birth to Princess Isa.
yeah, and
This-
he's just like kind of like the only character that's actually like a good person, but we don't really know anything about her yet. That's probably what part three is for. If
uh,
whenever that happens,
I mean,
because Netflix will pump the money.
and Zack Snyder would be like, actually, Princess Isa kills a bunch of people with her superpowers.
Like,
We
come
just
on, man! It's like just make one good person good for the sake of good. Like, just can you please just do that? It's like, oh, but that's not realistic. Okay, but you made her space Jesus.
oh well.
But yeah, so basically the action figures came up together and they're like, yeah, we need to find the princess so that she can restore the royal bloodline, so that we can kill Balisarius for good, even though you can kill him without finding her anyway.
Yeah, this cliffhanger is just tacked on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna copy Black Widow, it's like just have like just have like Korra find information on the ship and he just realized, oh, Princess Asa is still alive.
Here's
Like,
here's another thing. Did you see Kill Bill
yeah,
part one and two?
yes,
So like when you watch that movie, because this is this is a movie that has part one and part two, but part one and part two of Kill Bill, like you still feel like each part has an ending, like it feels satisfying of an end for that individual movie. Plus, part two has its own start and ending too. Even though they're both like, yes, you watch both of them back to back, but there's still like a concrete end from the first movie and the concrete end for the second movie, right?
yeah,
Rebel Moon doesn't do that for either of their movies because
no,
Zack
yeah.
doesn't know what Kill Bill did.
Yeah, just the ending just tacked on was like, oh, by the way, here's what happened. Was like, oh, I don't care, but sure.
Yeah, and then like in part one, it's like, oh, it ends with like the team going to that planet, even though it's like, but then for the sole purpose of we need to bring the team over there because they're gonna have to fight to protect Velt. But then the start of part two is literally saying, oh, the war is over because we killed Noble. It's like what? No, what was the point of the ending of part one? Why is the team there?
Because you see
Planet.
Seven
Just,
Samurai
oh, because
reference or something.
yeah, but because like they need to celebrate and eat the food, I guess. And it's like, oh, then these guys are so noble; they don't want payment or anything like that. They just want food. That's why they're fighting to save this planet. Okay, guys, that's great. That's great writing.
This is, I mean, if you really realize no one talks in this movie, these I guess dialogues is for stupid people who doesn't like, who can't write action scenes and stuff. What does the action of this movie tells you? Like every character's decision making.
Nothing, because there's always like, why didn't you literally? Again, I just go back to that guy. It's like, dude, you had a rifle, you had a machine gun, and a rocket launcher next to you. You had explosives on on your waist. You threw all of it off just to go and fight Noble hand to hand. And then you realize you were
Yeah.
losing, so now I need to use a knife. And you were still losing. It's like, dude, I and then they give all the sad music and the slow motion of his
Yeah.
death. I did not care because, dude, you had seven weapons to use, and you deliberately choose to use none of them.
Yeah. And the bad guy side was like, oh fuck, we have like tanks and stuff. Let's just have like one tank per time. Was like,
Yeah,
it was like,
and then it's
why would
like,
you do that?
yeah, then there's stuff like Nemesis, like she's fighting one at a time when she's surrounded by like six people.
And no one and they literally, and by the way, the Empire literally do not send reinforcements. Oh shit, sorry. The Mother World doesn't send reinforcements after they kill Nemesis.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, the Blood Axe sister just comes in and brings in her starfighters, like Rise of Skywalker.
It's like, why did Snyder copy so much Star Wars movies?
It's like, oh, that's the point, right? If the point was to be shit, then sure.
I mean, I've seen better shit movies, but sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's like a lot. Have you seen like Austin Powers?
Yeah,
I mean, that movie parodies a lot of modern movies now. I was like,
yeah.
hey, I was like, hey, Phillips, I'm evil because I'm stupid. Why do we need to make what? Why do we need? Why should we make trillions? Why we can make billions?
Oh man. Yeah.
I love Austin Powers. That was so ahead of its time. But you know, and of course, Zack Snyder plays it unironically.
What's
Yeah.
what's your what do you call it? What's your take on this franchise?
All it proves to me is like Zack Snyder can't write, direct, shots, edit, or anything. I say you have to go back to film school.
Yeah.
And by the way,
And
remember the
it's like,
PS4
dude,
from
I know we're dried on new franchises, new IPs, but please let's raise our fucking standards.
Yep. I mean, it's like this entire movie is written like John Wick sequels. It's like, oh fuck, what are the stories? Bang, 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 bang. Which is funny because one of the writers is actually a John Wick writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you excited for 4 more movies?
Nope.
Yay! Neither do I. And the 2 director cuts.
The 2
Whatever.
director cuts coming soon. Yeah, it's like, dude, let's be honest. The 6 movies is just part 1, part 2, part 1 rated R, part 2 rated R, then part 1 the full extended cut. I mean, the full PG-13 experience cut, and then the full rated R cut, extended whatever. That's your 6 movies right there. But yeah, I know he means to put more in this franchise. I can't wait for these
I mean,
spin-offs.
yay!
Um,
It's like Snyder Cut Justice League. He just have 10 teasers at the end for some reason.
yeah, it's just a headache, man.
Yay!
There's nothing happening in these movies. It's just like action and noise and words, but they don't go anywhere. They don't mean anything. And it just happens because it has to happen. There's not one good character in this film, in both films. Uh, Jimmy's like the closest, but like even he has some problems here and there.
I mean, Gunner is the only one who has an arc in both movies, and even he was underdeveloped.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say at this point. It's like, okay, what do you think they got a plan for Zack Snyder? It's like, what do you expect the movie to?
The thing is like Netflix is stupid enough to listen to whatever he says.
I mean, of course, it's Netflix. They listen to everyone. They literally just post content if anyone has a thing.
I mean, like literally, like WD and WB and Disney were like, no. But then Netflix is like, sure, why not? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Netflix. Sometimes you just for this idea you can have like good things happens accidentally. So it's like, yeah, whatever. Oh, Arcane. Hey, that's really good, and and they have no other platforms wanting it, so we just put it on Netflix, which is like, oh shit, that was surprisingly good. And then there's Zack Snyder.
So yeah, part 3 is probably just looking for the girl. I'm sure that it's like they're not gonna find her. It's like they'll be so close, but then something happens, like maybe Belisarius like takes her, like shows like, yeah, I have her, and then he fucks off or something like that, and it sets up part 4.
And then they just gotta create some space gods or something.
It's like, I'm gonna make her evil. So it's like, then we need to find another space Jesus so that the space Jesus good can fight the space Jesus bad, like Homelander's son.
Yay. I mean, to be fair, this movie already kind of hint the fact that there are gods exist in this universe.
Yeah. Or it's like one of those things is like where they get Princess Issa for good, but then Belisarius has to find an evil space baby and then like have those 2 space babies fight. Like
And then
like Homelander's son.
And then they're just gonna copy like The Empire Strikes Back and just like, and Korra is like, and Princess Issa was like, I am your daughter.
Oh man, yeah. That's Don't make more. Don't make more, man.
But you know, this day and age, fuck it. Of course, Netflix is probably just gonna make more. I'm just gonna look at is there anything about. Oh fuck. Sex. Oh, they have Snyder has 4 or 6 more movies.
Yeah, for some reason.
Hey, but at the very least, it said depending on whether or not the second and the third entries of the trilogy each got split into a 2-part movie as well. Great.
So yeah, that's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. The Scargiver
What else is
really,
it?
really doesn't.
Yeah.
Like she has like 4 names. Her real name Alice Sari or something like that. Cora, the Scargiver. But like
It's like Arthur
Arthur, yes. Yeah.
Is this some kind of reference I don't know about? Let me look at it.
It probably is. Like he used like the
Oh.
Seravis like to represent the army. That's like the Spartan thing. But you know, because Zack Snyder did 300,
Oh, found it.
a much better movie.
Arthalius is a venerated as a Christian saint. She is one of the patron saints of Benevento, with Barbatus of Benevento and Bartholomew being the others. To be honest, I probably butchered a lot of the names. It's like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some Christian saint.
I mean, if you're saying she's a Christian saint, she literally isn't. The character's not.
They're clearly not.
Yeah, Arthalius is the venerated as a Christian saint. She's one of the patrons of Benevento. Yeah. Yeah, she's not a saint though. She's pretty immoral.
Yeah, but you know, it's Zack Snyder. He thinks immoral things are good things. Look at that Snyder cut. Hey, Cyborg is a good person, even though he didn't do anything to help the world with his incredible technology.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Snyder cut is worse than
DC anymore.
Yep. And by the way, the Snyder cut is worse than Justice League.
Yeah. So say goodbye to the people. I have to kind of step out.
Yeah, to be honest, it's quite late for me. So same. Okay, so yeah, goodbye. And please stop giving Zack Snyder anything. And tell him to go back to film school.
Go back to filming commercials.
Yeah, that's probably the best way.
Yeah, like I mean, the whole sequence with the grain, like cutting the weeds and like stuff like that, that pretty much looked like a commercial for farming. You might as well just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just realize that you're better off watching better movies like Star Wars, Seven Samurai. Actually, rewatch Rogue One more than and rewatch Rogue One better than this movie. And Eyes Wide Shut, Dune, and every movie that Zack Snyder is stealing from.
Yeah.
Actually, don't watch Black Widow. Forget about that one.
Yes, subscribe to Unity Review and Analysis. His channel is in the description down below. I'm planning on having a video out on May 20th, next Monday, so be on the lookout for that. You can subscribe to our channels. You can subscribe to another Reviews Corp podcast where we archive these podcast videos on that channel. And also check out the Spotify of the same name. Both are in the link in the description down below. And we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.